Howdy folks, Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Menace, and we are back to playing Tannenberg, introductory scenario for Daryl Weltkrieg. We are on the next to the last turn, but we've got a little bit of area to clear up from the end of the last turn, and that was over here where the Russians had attacked on the German flank, did enough damage to cause the Germans to retreat. Now, the Germans had paid supplies. They had paid the supplies for a full defense, and so they would have either been tripled or just doubled since they had to retreat. And since in my brain they were being reduced from the most, I was thinking reduced, and I chopped them in half for being out of supply. They weren't out of supply. So they had 4 strength points there. And those 4 strength points would have been tripled, but since they had to retreat, it would have been doubled to 8. And instead I shot back on the 4 column. Now, that was against broken terrain with the -1. And what we rolled here on the 4 column, it was, it was 0 loss. But up here on the 8, no matter what you do, if you are on the 8 column and you have a -1 or no penalty, you will do 1 damage. So 8 strength with a minus or a 0 is always going to be 1 damage. So they did do 1 damage back to the Russians. So we need to account for that loss. Let's take that loss on this 4-4 guy, flipping him over, and then you have to advance for the guys that take losses if you're going to advance. Then you can take advance for those. So they're going to leave behind a 5-4 to make sure that the Germans didn't try any sneaky things, cut this guy off here, have enough there so that they won't have to retreat. So they're advancing with 13 strength points there instead of 15, and leaving behind 8 instead of 7. So net total, the Russians did lose 1. That also means they take a morale loss of 1. Now, I got all confused. I was like, God, something seemed wrong. So this total is right. The Russians are at 55 demoralization. The Germans are up to 49. So the Russians still have 6 against them. But that means right now, officially, so far, the score is a tie. It's in that tie zone, which this bothers me to no end here. Right here. There's no explicit statement of the draw or the tie. The Germans have more demoralization on them, or they're tied with the Russians, tied point-wise. It's a Russian marginal. And if the Russians have 11 to 29 more against them, it's a German marginal. No statement in the middle. Why in the world would you not do that? Why not be explicit? You're trying to save 3 lines in your rule book? I mean, there's, bunches of blank space, etc. So I don't know. Just that bothers me to no end if you don't explicitly state, oh yeah, here's a draw condition, here's a tie. So anyway, currently on the road to tying, so gonna need to add 1 more morale against the Russians. It's still in the tie zone, but there's 2 turns here left that we're doing, and it's definitely looks like the Germans are going to lose 2 morale points each turn because of the Russian occupied positions in Germany, that they are holding territory they got at the end of turn 3 that caused the Germans to, sorry about that little wiggle. So that's 4 more against the Germans. So even if they lose no more, they'll be up to 53. So it'll be 53 versus 56. So yeah, 53 to 56. If the Russians can score 3 more net morale difference against the Germans, they can actually win a marginal. All right. Or the Germans can win if somehow the Russians totally mess up and lose a huge stack or something like that. So let's get on with it. So it is the 3rd turn of September, the 3rd 4 1/3 or 4.5 day turn. There will be, I should say. Start with the Germans though. Look at a reinforcement here. Not that it'll have a chance to do much. So let's start over here. The Germans, I think, are definitely going to want to shift some guys just to make sure that the Russians don't do any shenanigans. They only got 2 more moves. If they mess up, they could somehow get into here or here. The Germans need to prevent that. That's a huge amount of demoralization points. Huge. They actually lost a city. So that's a priority. And then this stuff basically needs to just defend. And up north, we'll see if we can tighten up that line or not. But so we got to have to decide how much to pull here. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Hopefully that's not too... So there is a fort here. The Germans will rely on that for defense. They'll shift over here a little bit. They'll probably shift someone around this flank, or maybe try to get someone to here. If they get a zone of control here, that slows this guy down enough. Germans can't, or excuse me, the Russians can't get into here. But this doesn't exert a zone by itself. But if they can get a zone around here, then the thing is how to protect Bromberg way over here, which you're not seeing at the moment. There we are. So probably rail something into Bromberg. Probably something small, because they can't afford to do too much here. There's 6. Let's see. They move him over to here. 8. Let's see. It's a problem if you don't. Well, I think we could rail. The Germans have 12 rail. We could rail someone over to here. I was trying to think if the cavalry could just force march to here. 6, 7, 8. No, 11. That +3. Well, let's see. It'd be 1 reduced because of the railroad bridge. 3, 2 plus 3. 4, 6, 10. Yeah, no, they can't. I almost make it, but no. So rail. Do they want to get 2 strength points over there? 1. These would be unsupplied. It would be urban. Oh yeah, really painful. 1 is probably sufficient, but so that 5. That's a 7. This can't get attack bonus, so they're going to leave 10 strength points there. This guy will crawl over to here. So this guy here was in the zone of control. He could entrain in the zone of control because he's a German against the Russians, and he can do that. He could rail around to here and then hop over. You gotta, right? 12. See, the problem is cavalry, every 6 squares they move on rail squares, spaces, hexes. It uses up a movement allowance. While as with infantry, it's for every 10. We want to be able to cross here. Well, no. Why do we can rail right into what are we talking about? What are we talking about? My brain's not functioning here. We're not over here to move into here, but this has got a fortress. We don't need to do that. We just need to get there. So let's take the infantry. So one. All right. Oh, and there was a calculation I made before that Nenguea corrected me that there is no cost to actually detrain. You may elect to stay entrained. So on a future turn, you don't have to pay the one to entrain. So having guys sitting around detrained could be useful. However, there's a side effect within that. If you are ever attacked while you are entrained, you immediately detrain, and when you counterattack, you're not increased at all. You're not tripled, you're not doubled, you're attacking with your raw strength. So if you could supply yourself, you just have basic strength. If you couldn't, you get halved. So if you're sitting around entrained on a rail where they could actually move up and attack you, that's not a good idea. All right. Would they want to penetrate through there? Let's see, this guy can always reverse. Well, he's Calf's way over there. If he stays up here. We want to just engage him. We could step forward to get them all into a zone. And they could ooze forward and try to attack him. He would probably die. Is it worth to sacrifice him to slow him down? Or no, I don't think so. Here would be woods. Here would not. Here they could attack there, but you can't necessarily get supply. Think twice. They would have to stop here. Now, technically, he could try to punch there and hit there, and but that's if those guys die, they're probably gonna die anyway, right? If they do enough damage, it's like you can't. If you're one strength point, and you have to retreat, you're dead. They've done enough to kill you. So, and the cavalry by themselves can retreat before combat if the enemy doesn't have any cavalry. There we go. All right. So, yeah. So this would have at least broken, but they could try to punch here, but I don't think they have enough strength to hit both of these and make both of these retreat. And he would still have a communication here, so they'd have to punch here, and because well, let's see, this guy would have to go this way. This guy, well, if they did that first, he'd retreat to here, they'd advance. He would then have to retreat to here. That's equally distant towards the head, but this wouldn't have a zone on it. And then that would leave zone, so they could potentially, if they force this and this and this, yeah, that's not going to happen. They don't have enough strength. So I think that's it there for the Germans in the south, facing off against Samson's second army. They did have to shuffle those guys around, but hopefully hopefully no shenanigans will happen there. All right, up north, let's move this up here. So they punched in here, and the Germans in retreat. This is a forced, this is like a naughty, nasty. They need to do something. This is threatened by 3Xs, but it's got woods. They want to leave a fair bit there. That might be just good an anchor there by himself on the flank. 6 strength points might be enough. We might swap those two around. This doesn't need a ton in it, because the question is, do you want to hold this hex? If attacked from here or here, included in it, you're going to get woods. If you attack from here alone, it would only be broken. And he's got a ton here, and he could potentially try to do that. So if we spread out too thinly along here, well, if you're too thin, you got to watch out. A column movement attack. Column attack, where you are moving a stack, you could potentially, even though you're halved, that's where you could crunch them and push them enough that you could take a hex and cut someone off really bad. So that's the problem with when you're getting really small, thin front lines, and one guy still has like a big monster stack. Potentially, he can be crunching through 2 hexes a turn, potentially. Wow. See, there's a fort there. That's just fine. So the question is, do you defend all like that? Does this guy pull back? No, because then you just got nothing but stuff here. I think, let's see, where was this guy? I think he was over here somewhere where I didn't use him I think he was here. I think he was he in this square or this square? I can't remember. I had set him aside. I said, he is not attacking. So I don't remember. He's either here or here. I'm gonna put him here, I think. But he may have been there. But yeah, he wasn't way over here. I'd set him aside to look at the infantry underneath, and he had not participated in the attack, so he wouldn't be lost. So he was in one of these 2 X's. So, yeah, they could try to defend with just 1 cav, but then they might bring the cav in to try to attack that. But if they attack straight south, there's a risk that then the Germans could maybe, the last turn, strike and cut him off and hit him and kill a stack or something. So maybe let's pretend that we have a master plan, that we're somehow going to try to lure them forward, that this cavalry who can retreat is going to be there. Now let's see, what do we got under here? A 5. Yeah, I'm going to move that all down. All right, so there's 8 there. There's only 2 here. Yeah, so you can pretend so they couldn't, well, if they call him attack to here, he would retreat to here. They could take it. They wouldn't kill him. They can't use him to call him attack because you have to be in the same stack. A stack that started together can call him attack. So if they move him here to do that, they can do that in the combat phase, but that's okay. And then maybe magically, mystically, we can cause a major loss here somehow. We're dreaming. All right, what do we got here? 6. Oh, they both have 6s. Move a 6. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. He can still do it. 8. we might need more than that. That is subject to 3. This can, yep. We're gonna move this whole pile down. All right. I'm going to. All right, we're gonna put a 7 there. Whoops, come on. Don't do that. Don't do that. 9. Now, so we got 7 and 7. This is across the river. This could all attack here. We could put an extra one there. Yep, I think they're going to do that. 9. All right, that's the best they can do. So got to be within 8 for drawing supply for defensive purposes. This one here looks too far away. Oh, I can't see that. I'm way up here. Let's zoom out so we can see more of both fronts. So what I'm looking at is the positioning of this. Do I need to move it? Easily can trace to here. Coming down this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's see here. There's these weird rivers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you trace from the unit to the thing. This guy is too far away. You ignore zones of control that are friendly occupied when you're tracing for supply. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we did move down 1 or even here, so yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, let's see if we are here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. That's nice and centralized there. All right, that's the German move. Let's continue. Well, 22 minutes. No. Now, let's keep them a little shorter. We'll try to do another one. Again, I think the last time it was 3 or 4 days ago we had one, so we're trying to get 2 or 3. Trying to finish up. We're getting very close. Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness, Tannenberg, Der Weltkrieg System, SPW Schroeder Publishing and War Games. It's now distributed by Decision Games. I don't think Decision Games owns it. I think they have a special deal, but and Dave Schroeder, SPW, doesn't sell it on their own anymore, but I think he still owns the design rights, but Decision Game is like the exclusive distributor of it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add now the 2 demoralization of the Germans for this turn. There's just, they didn't push. The Russians aren't going to have to do anything. We're going to add those 2 now, going up to flip 51. And the Russians will try to see where they can attack with some odds, trying to figure out where the odds are in their favor of doing more, because if they can incrementally get enough points, they can actually pull off a victory. So that's it, folks. Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness. We're going to try to get in a couple of more miscellaneous different videos this week. Gonna do maybe a couple polls. Like I did the one on miniature painting, and I'm gonna get back to those. I'm building the Serpent Men of Jargono. Got gluing them. Those temple dogs from from Shadows of Brimstone. The temple that had like 10 pieces each, like to glue those. Like each separate little paw is a separate. I don't understand how some miniature designers build things like that. It's just crazy. I understand the idea. If you have interchangeable parts, like, oh, I want a shield on this guy or not on this guy. Maybe he's got a second weapon in his hand, and you've got different weapons and poses and maybe different heads with different helmets, blah, blah, blah. That I get, even though I don't like it. I would rather just buy stuff all made together, and I understand bigger pieces sometimes should have a few parts. But oh my God, yeah. And I'll do a rant about it later. Anyway, poll stuff. Gonna do a poll about which game from the publisher that I got a couple of complimentary review copies. So I'll let you guys decide which one I do first. And then I need to get the poll up for what's going to come next after Tannenberg here for War Room. 10 games for the 2023 challenge. So we'll let you decide what guys was next. So it's 26 minutes. Man Cave of Mike. Oh yeah, I am meandering. My brain is meandering. Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness way after midnight. Now it's probably like 3 a.m. Saying, take care, you guys. Get plenty of sleep. Way more than I do. And ciao.